A report by the UN's Children's Agency, UNICEF, has warned that half of all young people in Europe and Central Asia are now regularly exposed to severe heat waves. It says their health is increasingly at risk from such climate change-related extreme weather. It comes as the Met Office says that the record-breaking heat experienced in the UK last year will be the norm by 2060. The State of the UK Climate Report says extreme temperatures will become average unless carbon emissions are reduced. Our environment correspondent Matt McGrath reports.
Last summer's searing heatwave sparked wildfires across the UK, with more than 800 on the hottest day in July, when temperatures broke through 40 Celsius for the first time. These blistering conditions also had significant impacts on human health, with thousands more deaths in the over 65s than usual in England and Wales across July and August. But this new Met Office report shows that the persistent heat wasn't confined to summer, with every month apart from December warmer than the long-term average. This saw 2022 become the UK's warmest year in records dating back to 1884. Driving all this, according to the researchers, are ongoing emissions of carbon dioxide from human activities. If these stay constant, an exceptional year like 2022 will become the norm for the UK.
A year like 2022, the warmest year on record for the UK in our current climate, will be roughly an average year by the middle of the century, just after mid-century by 2060. By 2100, 9 out of 10 years will actually be warmer than 2022.
Researchers say that in the UK, temperature extremes are increasing much faster than the average. This will likely see far more high-temperature records broken in the years to come, potentially by quite wide margins. Scientists say that this pattern is now being seen all over the world, including the dramatic heat that's driving wildfires in Greece and many other locations right now. But even though these higher temperatures will become increasingly likely in a warmer world, the UK still has much further to go to properly prepare for this new normal. Government advisers say that the UK is still not treating adapting to climate change as a national priority. Matt McGrath, BBC News.
Well, let's speak now to Dr. Simon Bradshaw, Research Director at the Climate Council of Australia. Welcome to you. Thanks very much for being with us. This report very much focused on the UK. What's your reading of it?
Good morning, good to be with you. Well, look, it's sadly very consistent with the warnings we've had for a long time about increasing extreme heat due to climate change, driven by the burning of coal, oil and gas. It's affecting us right around the world. It's especially affecting the more vulnerable parts of our population. You mentioned the impact on children specifically. But the key words in this report really are this will be the new normal unless we act faster to drive down emissions. When it comes to extreme heat, there is still so much within our hands, and our decisions now and through these coming years are going to make a very big difference in how bad things get and in limiting future harms.
Yeah, when it talks about children, this UN report warning that half of all young people in Europe and Central Asia are at risk. Why is that?
Well, children are particularly vulnerable because their core temperature goes up more quickly in heat. They're less able to cool themselves down. And this impacts them in some very significant ways, for example, in their ability to learn in school. And that does mean we have the risk of increasing inequality because it's in poorer parts of the country where there's less quality school buildings and so forth, where people are already at a disadvantage. With climate change, with extreme heat, you're just compounding those existing inequalities. And that just drives home, again, why nobody is immune to these impacts. It affects some more than others. And everything we do now to rein in emissions, to build the resilience of our communities is creating a brighter, safer future for young people alive today and for all of us.
Yeah, around the world, including obviously where you are in Australia, we're all seeing increasing levels of extreme weather, aren't we? Whether it's rain, whether it's heat, it's different in different parts of the world. Here in the UK right now as well, it's not extreme, but it's certainly not the summer that many might expect. Many asking, well, look, we see these reports, on a regular basis from different institutions around the world warning that we need to cut carbon emissions before it's too late. And lots of people asking, well, is it too late already? And what can we do to help?
It's never too late. We have to remember that every positive action we take, every ton of carbon we leave in the ground is limiting future harms and is creating a safer future for everybody. But it is truly heartbreaking to see the impacts unfold over the last few months, all across the Northern Hemisphere. And it's almost a pattern here in Australia. We watch these unfold over these months and we think, what is our summer going to bring? And it's a period of a lot of anxiety and a lot of very genuine human suffering that we see. This is the age of consequences for our past inaction on climate change. And because we baked more of these impacts into the system, we do have to double down on our efforts to adapt to what's coming. But I say again, the core message from all of this is that it's so essential. We cut global emissions in half this decade, and countries like Australia and the UK need to go a lot faster than that, because that's going to be so consequential when it comes to the severity of impacts that we'd be facing further down the line.
Do you feel that we're going in the right direction?
Not fast enough. I mean, look, a lot has changed in the last few years. We've had most of the world's major economies take more steps. We're seeing, a race among some of the big countries now to really own the clean economy of the future, because that's where the smart money is. That's where the new opportunities are. But when you look at the science, when you look at the pace at which these impacts are unfolding, nothing we're doing is yet fast enough. So it's really going to take all of us to get our emissions plummeting over the coming decades. But, it's so important. It's so worth it. And the price from that is better security, better safety, better prosperity. There's everything for the taking, but we really have absolutely no more time to lose.